Next is a little deviation from the family vein, and that's one of Dad's best friends, and that's Mr. Steve Glover. Who sat in the back because he likes to make an entrance.
Always been an F-row person. Can you hear me back there? Because I'm not very good with a microphone. Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this without a microphone. I can't speak for you, but I miss Mark. I kind of figure you guys miss Mark too. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. Mark was a very dear friend of mine. We used to do a lot of fun things together. He invited me into his family. But I knew the Chambers family probably before I knew Mark. Because Mr. Chambers was the president of the Babe Ruth League. And he made sure that we had a field and teams so we could play baseball. Now I knew Mark then, but I never figured it out that was Mark's dad. That's how well I knew Mark at that time. After college, we sort of went our different directions, and eventually we got back together because of golf. Now, I don't know if you know this or not about Mark, but he liked to play golf. In fact, he was a pretty good golfer. In fact, of my friends, he's probably the only golfer friend of mine that I never, ever beat. Now, I don't know if that was because of the pencil and the eraser or what, but I never beat Mark. He was a very accomplished golfer. We had a lot of fun together. But because of the game of golf, we ended up getting back together many moons ago. The first time we played, he had some funky helmet. I want to say it was a pith helmet, but didn't have the spike on the top. And we were playing at Rancho Marietta outside of Sacramento, and he would come up to the green, and he would take his putter, and he would bury it in the ground as he went to hit the next chip shot. And I was a little unrattled about that, because it really, game's not that kind of golfer. You don't see that on the tour. You don't see Tiger Woods. Well, we don't see Tiger Woods doing that. Maybe he does do that. But I was a little unraveled about that. But we became really close in those days, and then all of a sudden he decided he was going to move back to Oregon, which I really can't understand. But he liked it here. He liked it here, all right? And one of the reasons why I liked being Mark's friend when he was in Oregon was because I moved to Arizona, and on a day like today, which actually is a pretty nice day here, but on a day like today in Arizona, we'd be in the backyard, 85 degrees, barbecuing, and I would call Mark relentlessly, reminding him of how nice the weather was in Phoenix. And he would say, well, yeah, it's 40 degrees and raining. It's been raining for 2 weeks. But that's Mark, and Mark loved being here and being here with all of you. Now, one of the things that I really thought was very good about Mark was that we like to think that Mark was a very special person. But I think in reality what made Mark special was all of you. You were the people that made Mark special, because he could be your best friend. He was everyone's best friend here. Well, maybe not Donnie, and maybe not Carol Ann, and maybe not the kids, because to them it was their son or their dad. But to the rest of us, he was our best friend. And I had so much fun playing golf with him. And there was one story that I wanted to close on, if you don't mind. It's a kind of a joke. I had a very dear friend who passed away about 5 years ago, who was a two-time U.S. National Amateur Senior Champion, two-time runner-up, a very accomplished female golfer. And she told me this joke. It was that Mark and Billy and Bobby and Kurt had a tee time at Pebble Beach. And if you're a golfer, you know that playing at Pebble Beach is probably the most important, most incredible round of golf you're ever going to have, and you're not going to miss it. So Mark said, now I want you guys to be there, and be there on time, because we're going to play. And so the day comes up. He's standing outside the pro shop waiting for his friends to show up. And the first guy comes, Billy shows up and he says, well, so Billy, do you have any problems getting out of the house this morning? This was really, really an expensive round of golf because I had promised to take my wife on a shopping spree. And it's going to cost me a lot of money because she wants to go to Nordstrom's and all the other big fancy stores. But I'm happy to be here. Let's play golf. The next person, Kurt, he comes up. Kurt comes up the path and he says, so Kurt, did you have any problems getting out of the house today? Kurt says, no. I'm sorry, yes, I did have problems, and it's going to be very expensive because I have to buy my wife a new car. And it's going to be real expensive, and I'm glad to be here, and we'll just go with that. Bobby, who Mark has known since about 3rd grade, comes up the path, and he says to Bobby, do you have any problems getting out of the house today? Well, see, this is going to be really an expensive round of golf because I had to take my wife on a trip. I had to promise to take her to Europe, and so this is going to be a very expensive round of golf, but I'm excited to be here, and thanks for having me, and let's start playing. So then they turned and said, well, Mark, did you have any problems getting out of the house today? And he said, well, actually, no. I went into the bedroom and I said to Jillian, golf course or intercourse? And Jillian said, don't forget your sweater, dear. So, Mark had a couple of other favorite sayings. One of them, he put on his golf ball, every time he played golf, he put on his golf ball, HWC, handle with care. Marky said that if you take care of the golf ball, it will take care of you. He would remind me every time I'd go buy a new set of clubs, it is not the archer. It is not the arrow, it is the archer. Sorry, it is not the arrow, it is the archer. All right? Marky was an incredibly talented player, and one of the things he used to always say, and Vicky's already said it, was, just keep playing. That was Mark's mantra, just keep playing. I'm sure Marky's still playing, he's got the best tee times, and he's playing some of the best golf courses around right now, and we should all do the same. Just keep playing. Thank you.